Okay, I'm gonna put my flour in my bowl. I'm not gonna measure it. I'm just going to uh, just as long as everybody knows that I'm using a 4-quart bowl. 4-quart bowl. We're gonna make bread, Skaan as we call it sometimes, borrowed from the English word scone. Yeah. And this looks, I got about half in this 4-quart bowl of flour, even without making the well on it. So now I'm going to make a well in it, right in there. And then I'm going to put Canadian Magic baking powder is what I always use. Okay, so I'm going to put in baking powder. I'm not measuring, I'm measuring using the regular tablespoon. So I'm going to put 1, 2.5 heaps. 2.5 heaps of baking powder. And are you following along here? Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to take the salt and load it up. But this time it's not a heaping. It's just kind of level tablespoon of salt. Put it in there. And because we're going to make a baked bread, I'm going to put in, this is a cup measurement. I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of sugar in there with my salt and baking powder, just about 1/4 cup using the cup measurement. Put that in there and stir it up. Mix it up inside there without digging to the bottom. Just kind of mix it up with the flour and and I preheated my oven to 370. Could be anywhere between 350 and 375. Okay, we put the sugar in, so I'm going to put it over here to the side. Now I'm going to get some lukewarm water. Lukewarm water. I have a little dipper that's probably about the size of a 2-cup measuring cup. I'm going to fill that up twice. So we're probably looking at about 3 cups of water in there. And sometimes I just guide by how fast my bowl fills up. You don't want to fill it up, so you start mixing it up after you put the water in. Just a little bit, just grab a little bit of flour, along the edges, like as you put your spoon in the water. Just kind of grab in the liquid grab the flour and stir it into the water mixture, whatever. And if you could see your water bubbling from the baking powder, then you've got a good strong baking powder. So at this time, after I stirred it up a little bit, I'm going to take about 1/2 cup of milk and pour it into the mixture. And keep stirring it up, blending in all the flour in there. Okay, the blueberries are going to come in after it starts to get thick. When you start kneading it, when you start to, it's not so watery anymore. When it gets like, I guess they call oatmeal-y or whatever, really thick like that. So probably right now, as I'm looking at mine, it's getting to a point where I can actually start putting flour on it and kneading it. That's when you put your blueberries in it. It's still not watery, but it's still very sticky looking. Like a pancake dough. That's what it looks like. So you put your blueberries in at this time. And I'm not putting, okay, so keep stirring and start kneading it. Start, you know, drying it up.
How many blueberries do you think would be enough?
Probably about a cup. If you want cup, if you want it, if you want a lot of blueberries in it, you could add maybe a cup and a half in what we're making here right now. The amount of bread that. So now that I have got to a point where I could start adding flour to it and kneading it dry, I'm going to do that now. I'm actually got my hands in there. Darn it. Got my hands in there now. I got a little bit of flour. I don't have that much flour in my pan because I think I used like the perfect amount of flour. Well, I got a little bit at the bottom, so I'm folding my bread dough over, and as I fold it over, I can see the flour underneath, and I grab it and kind of throw it on the top, punch it down, knead it down a little bit. Okay, and it's getting dry now. I don't like to have flour left over when I make bread because I've been making this bread since I was 7 years old, so I kind of guide and eyeball. I'm an eyeball cooker. Just kidding. See, right now it's starting to get look really, really nice and smooth. Okay. And if you knead your bread too much, and if you put too much flour in it when you're kneading it, it gets dry inside and it gets layered, kind of like a shortbread or something like that. So, but if you just do it, you know how long I stirred it like that. If you stir it slow and blend in the flour and stuff evenly, then you get a really, really nice dough. I'm gonna put my dough on the counter here so everybody can see what I'm talking about. How perfectly round I've made this. See? Right there. Look at that. And darn it. I should have got my lard. I'm supposed to grease my pan. So my hands are kind of yucky right now. I usually clean them off. We're gonna take this. Are you finished kneading it?
No.
Okay.
Got my hands dirty, so you got time to grease your pan.
I know, I should have greased my pan earlier. Now I'm getting the dough off my fingers. The dough that got stuck on my hands. Just kind of throw it on the side here a little bit. Then I'm going to take my my paper towel, grab a chunk of Crisco or oil, whatever it is that you, and start greasing your pan up at the bottom and a little bit on the sides because it's not going to rise and touch like cake dough that cake batter does. It's just going to rise from as it sets in the pan. So there, I've greased the pan. And maybe at this time, sometimes just to give it a little bit more smoothness, I usually like to do some more of that kneading it. I'm just going to use the the flour that's at the bottom of my pan. A little bit of flour, fold it over so it doesn't stick. That's why I do that. Okay. Okay. And then I flip it over so that the smooth side is on the top now, and I'm going to grab my bread, put it in the pan, kind of center it in the middle, and punch it down. Punch it down so evenly. And then what I do is I take a knife and I cut it. I make little marks of where it's going to be cut. Well, when you make marks like this on top of it, it'll cook like that, and then it'll be easy for you to break it where those marks are. That's where they will break. So it'll look like this. See the little marks? Then that's it. Then you put it in the preheated oven and you let it cook till it gets nice and golden brown. Put it in the preheated oven.
Should we have about how long?
Probably about 40 minutes, right around there.
Okay, we'll be back.
Sometimes too, when you check your bread as it starts to get golden brown, just get it, to. It's not gonna get real brown. It's because it's dough, so it's just gonna get like crusty, a little bit golden brown, and when you tap it, on top, you just kind of tap it like this. If it sounds nice and hollow inside, that means it's done. See, it's starting to get nice and golden brown. It actually sounds done because when you tap it on the top like that, it sounds hollow. And then as I look at the pan at the bottom, because I use a glass pan, I could see that it's kind of like evenly golden all the way through. But I think I'm going to give it another maybe 5 minutes just to give it a little bit more of a golden crust. Okay, I think it's done. I made the final tap and get it out of the oven. Put it on the pot holders, and I'm going to stick this towel underneath it so I can flip it over so that it sits on the towel. And there you have baked scone. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to usually let it cool off a little bit. Use a sharp knife. I usually let it cool off a little bit, but because I wanted to see real nice and crusty at the bottom. I'm just going to break it. There it is. I usually like to eat this bread once it's cooled off. I cut it in half and just slice it and put some butter on it. I'm going to eat it.